everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be drawing old art that I drew last year, since I've really only been trying to improve my art for that long. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how much progress I've made, because I've been feeling a little bit down about my art lately. So I'm hoping this will make me feel a little bit better about my drawings. So first we're drawing this cat girl, and I'm just gonna put red on all the places that I think are kind of strange about the drawing, especially the kind of cat playground thingy, because it looks like completely flat, which is kind of weird because it wouldn't be able to hold the girl. So when I redraw I don't know what to call it, the cat thingy, wow, the cat thingy, how creative of me, I'm going to make it look a little bit more 3D. And also, the shoes on the feet on the cat girl were really weird looking. So I tried to fix that because even now I can't really draw feet. So hopefully it's better than the previous one. And there were so many things because it was it hurt my eyes. And I'm really happy with the new one, and especially the anatomy, because in the original, she just looks like a long noodle, and so I tried to pay attention to the anatomy and where the head would sit on the neck, and where her knees would be and everything like that. Another thing I'm going to mention that's kind of a little bit unrelated is I've been going through a little phase where I can't decide what brush I like to use for line art. And I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but it's just a phase I'm going through. And I'm trying all these different fancy inking brushes, which you really don't need. I ended up doing with a slightly textured brush for this, and it was perfect. And then I think I like the brush that I'm using. And then the next day I'm like, I kind of like this brush. It looks a lot nicer. And so I can just never decide. And so with some of the drawings I'll do, I'll just be scribbling all over the drawing because I can't decide which one I'm going to use. But I think the brush I used for this, it was in a brush set I bought, and it was called, I forget what it was called. It was something like Draw Me or Illustrate Me brush or something. But it's really nice, and I used it for the 2 illustrations I did today. But now in my more recent illustrations, I'm using a opacity weighted brush that I kind of like, and so I'm still can't decide what brush I like to use. Maybe I like to use more of a pencil textured one. I haven't really decided. So this is the artist struggle I'm going through right now. And now we're on to shading. I really wanted to focus on the shading with this illustration because in the original I paid no attention to light at all, mostly because I had just learned how to shade, but it wasn't very good, and I didn't know how to shade different light scenarios. And so I really wanted to show my improvement in shading with this illustration, to show the glow of the moon and hitting the cat girl. And so I added highlights to the wrinkles on the dress and on her nose, and I shaded the leg that would be behind the front one to try and make it look the moon was backlighting the cat girl, and I think I achieved that. But when I did the rim of white light behind her, I couldn't get it to look quite right, but I finally got it right in the end. Moving on to the second piece that was also done a year ago, I'm just doing the same thing by circling all the spots I think looked kind of weird. And I'm circling the text because I'm not going to do the text with the new version because I think it takes up so much of the illustration and it's ugly. And I don't know why I did that in the original. So I'm not doing that in this one. I was going to, but then I decided not to. Another thing that bothered me about the original was the lack of expression in Emily's face. That's the name of the character. So I really tried to push the expression in the new one because she's being recorded by somebody who she doesn't know. And she's nervous, so she's going to be surprised and look a little bit nervous. And in the original, I knew exactly what I was doing with the hair, and I put all that hair there so I wouldn't have to draw the anatomy of the other side of the face or the hands or the upper body, and so I wouldn't have to learn how to do any of that stuff. But I wanted to show in this new drawing that I am capable of doing all those things, and so I did do hands, and I'm really happy with how they look, and I didn't cover the body with the hair because it makes it look like for a really kind of beginner looking piece, which I don't want. So I changed it a little bit. And also another thing that bothered me with the hair in the original was it was kind of all over the place. It didn't have like a very much of a flow to it, which kind of made it break off in a kind of unsatisfying way. And so I tried to give it a little bit more flow here. I'm kind of imagining it's a little bit windy. Also, guess what? I actually drew the background with the new one, because if you didn't realize, in the old one I imported a picture for the background because I was too lazy to draw one and I didn't know how. And I'd like to say I've learned like a couple things. I should probably take a course or two about backgrounds, but I tried my best, and I was gonna blur it anyway so it didn't have to look that good. But I was taking a lighting and shading course with this exact kind of scenery, so I thought I'd take my new shading skills to the test. And because one of the problems with the original one was it did not interact with its environment. The character did not interact, and that's important when you're doing an environment scene. So with this one, I really tried to make the character look like they're supposed to be there, like they're there. They're not just plastered onto a background, which is why I have like the leaf imprints and some of the like glowing lights that I'm gonna add. And I put like a couple filters on top to make it seem more like bright, because it looks kind of like dark right now. So I'm gonna fix that. Right now, like I said before, I'm just messing around with the filters, and I added like a little glow of light on the left side to make it seem like, because that's where the sun is coming from, so I want it to be shining through more on that part and hitting the character. Anyways, as we near the end of the video, I would just like to say, you probably noticed that my style has changed quite a lot. In the original, you've probably heard of Lavender Town before, and in the original, I was really obsessed with Lavender Town's art style, still am, and so I wanted to draw exactly like her, and so that's why it looks really similar. So here are the two finished illustrations. I hope you enjoyed watching me redraw my old art, and like and subscribe and share. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!